There are moments in life where a single choice, a seemingly insignificant decision, can destroy everything. We're not talking about major crimes or acts of madness. We're talking about common decisions, everyday decisions, decisions that any of us could make. But sometimes there's an invisible line, a boundary that, when crossed, allows no return. And the scariest part, you don't see that line until it's too late. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of 3 ordinary people who made that fatal mistake. They thought it was harmless. They thought they had control. They were wrong. Welcome to the Invisible Limit. Sarah Mitchell was 28 years old, an elementary school teacher in Portland, Oregon. Predictable routine, organized life. Every Tuesday and Thursday, Sarah jogged in Washington Park after work. Always the same route, always at the same time, 5:45 p.m. For 2 years, she followed this routine religiously. The park was safe, well-lit, full of people, until the fall of 2019 came. November 6, 2019, an ordinary Tuesday. Sarah left school late, a parent-teacher meeting that ran long. When she arrived at the park, it was already 6:20 p.m. The sun was setting earlier. People were starting to leave. But Sarah had a commitment that night, a dinner at 8 p.m. that she couldn't miss. She had 2 options, skip the workout or take a shorter route. That's when she saw it, a secondary trail, narrower, less used, but it cut the park in half. She had always seen that trail, but had never used it. It would save 15 minutes. Sarah hesitated for a moment. The trail was darker, more isolated, but she thought, it's just 15 minutes. What could happen in 15 minutes? That thought, that single decision, would cost everything. Sarah entered the trail at 6:27 p.m. Her cell phone's GPS records confirmed this. Initially, everything seemed normal. The trail was quiet, surrounded by dense trees. She picked up her pace, wanting to get out of there quickly. 6 minutes into her run, she heard it. Footsteps behind her. At first, she thought it was another jogger. But the footsteps would speed up when she sped up. They would slow down when she slowed down. Sarah looked back. A man about 40 meters behind, hooded, hands in pockets, walking in her direction. Her instinct screamed, but she tried to rationalize. It's just a person. I'm being paranoid. The exit is close. She continued, and that was her second mistake. The man accelerated. Sarah started to run. She grabbed her phone to call the police and realized no signal. The trail was in a low area, surrounded by trees. Sarah ran as fast as she could. She could hear his footsteps getting closer, closer and closer. Her heart was beating so hard it hurt. And then she tripped. Sarah Mitchell was found the next morning by a park employee. She was alive, but deeply traumatized. The attack lasted 8 minutes. 8 minutes that destroyed her life. The man was never caught. The park's cameras didn't cover that trail. There were no witnesses. Sarah developed severe PTSD. She lost her job. She could no longer leave the house alone. She had to move back to her parents' house at 29, all because she crossed an invisible line. That trail represented a choice between safety and convenience. And in 15 minutes, her entire life changed. The police later revealed something disturbing. There had been more than 12 reports of suspicious behavior on that same trail in the previous 6 months. But none had been widely publicized. Sarah didn't know. Sometimes danger isn't obvious. Sometimes it's hidden in a seemingly harmless choice. Sarah's story shows us how a decision of convenience can have devastating consequences. But what about when the decision isn't about a place, but about a person? Our next story involves trust, and how giving trust to the wrong person can destroy everything you built. David Thompson, 34 years old, software developer in San Francisco, successful, independent, single. David had a 2-bedroom apartment in a modern building in the financial district. 24-hour security, cameras everywhere. He felt safe. In March 2021, David started using a home services app. Cleaning, small repairs, furniture assembly. Convenient for someone with a busy schedule. That's how he met Trevor. Trevor Hayes was 26 years old. He worked on small repairs through the app. Positive reviews, always on time, polite. David hired him 3 times in 2 months. Fix a faucet, assemble a bookshelf, install a TV mount. Trevor was talkative. He talked about soccer, technology, movies. David liked him. He seemed like a nice guy. In May 2021, David planned a business trip to New York. 2 weeks. During the trip, he realized he had forgotten to water his plants. Expensive plants, some rare, that he had been growing for years. David had an idea. Trevor lived relatively close. He could pay Trevor to water the plants twice a week. Simple. But there was a problem. David was already in New York. How would Trevor get into the apartment? That's when David made the decision. He would leave the spare key with the building's front desk. Trevor could pick it up, water the plants, and return it. The front desk had his name on the approved services list. David thought, he's already been here 3 times. He has good reviews. What's the problem? That trust, that single act of convenience, would destroy everything. Trevor watered the plants on the first visit, and on the second. But between the second and third visit, something changed. Trevor was having financial problems. He owed money to dangerous people, and he had noticed something during his previous visits to David's apartment. Expensive electronics, a watch collection, a high-end laptop always on the table, and now he had the key. On the third visit, Trevor didn't water the plants. He brought a backpack and started taking things. First, small items, a watch, then the laptop. Then he got bolder. But Trevor made a crucial mistake. He didn't know that David had internal cameras, small, discreet ones. David had installed them mainly to monitor the plants remotely. When David reviewed the footage a week later, he saw everything. Trevor entering, looking around, taking his things, laughing to himself. David called the police immediately. But when they went to Trevor's apartment, he was gone, along with approximately $45,000 worth of belongings. Trevor had used the key to make a copy. He had planned to come back. The police eventually caught Trevor 3 months later, trying to sell David's watches in another state. He was convicted, but David never recovered everything. What was worse, the insurance company denied most of the claim. Why? Because David voluntarily gave the key to Trevor. He had violated the terms of his insurance policy by giving unsupervised access to someone who wasn't family or a registered roommate. David lost $45,000 in belongings, another $8,000 in legal fees, and something more intangible, his ability to trust. He developed paranoid anxiety, changed the locks 6 times in the first year, installed cameras in every room, stopped using home services completely. The decision to give a simple key to someone he thought he knew crossed an invisible line, the line between convenience and personal security. Trevor later admitted in his confession, "I would never have done it if he hadn't given me the key. It was too easy. The temptation was too great." Sarah crossed a physical boundary. David crossed a boundary of trust. But our last story is perhaps the most disturbing because it involves a boundary that we all play with daily, the digital boundary. Jennifer Rodriguez, 41 years old, human resources manager at a mid-sized company in Chicago. Married, 2 children, stable life, no major drama. Jennifer wasn't a tech expert, but she wasn't naive either. She knew about spam, about phishing scams. She was always careful, until the day her caution wasn't enough. August 13th, 2022, a Friday morning, Jennifer was working from home, preparing payroll reports. She received an email. The sender appeared to be from her bank. The subject, suspicious activity detected, immediate action required. Jennifer opened the email. It said there was an attempted purchase of $3,847 on her account. If it wasn't her, she should click the link immediately to block the transaction. Jennifer panicked. $3,847? She hadn't made that purchase. She looked at the email more closely. The bank's logo was correct. The format looked professional. She thought about calling the bank, but it was 9 a.m. on a Friday. She would have to wait on hold. What if the purchase was processed in the meantime? Jennifer moved the cursor over the link. She hesitated, and then she clicked. The website looked identical to the bank's website. Jennifer typed her login, her password. The site asked for her two-factor authentication code. She typed it, and as soon as she pressed confirm, everything disappeared. In 47 seconds, hackers on the other side of the world had complete access to Jennifer's bank account. They transferred funds, opened a line of credit in her name, accessed information from her corporate account, because Jennifer, as an HR manager, had access to sensitive company data. In 20 minutes, $127,000 was stolen from personal and corporate accounts. But the worst was yet to come. The hackers used Jennifer's information to access the company's HR system. They stole personal data from 847 employees, social security numbers, addresses, banking information, all because Jennifer clicked on a link. Jennifer reported it immediately, but the damage was done. The bank was able to recover only $34,000. The company was sued by 63 employees. Jennifer lost her job. She was held responsible for the breach. Although she wasn't criminally charged, her reputation was destroyed. She couldn't find work in HR for 2 years. Her marriage went into crisis. The family almost lost their house. And the most devastating part? The email had clear signs of phishing. The sender's address was slightly wrong. The link, when you hovered over it, showed a suspicious domain. Jennifer saw those signs, but panic made her ignore them. 1 click, 1 second, an invisible line crossed. Cybersecurity experts later analyzed the attack. They said Jennifer did everything wrong after clicking the link, but they also said something important. Her mistake is the same one millions of people make every day. The difference is that she was unlucky enough to cross the line that has no return. 3 stories, 3 ordinary people, 3 simple decisions. Sarah chose convenience over safety. David chose trust over caution. Jennifer chose speed over verification. None of these decisions seemed catastrophic at the time. They all seemed reasonable, justifiable, harmless, but each of them crossed an invisible line, a boundary that separates the everyday from the irreversible. What makes these stories so disturbing isn't what happened. It's how easily it could happen to any of us. How many times have you taken a shortcut for convenience? How many times have you trusted someone you barely knew? How many times have you clicked on a link without thinking twice? We live our lives balancing risk and reward, convenience and safety, trust and caution. Most of the time, we're lucky. Our choices don't have serious consequences. But sometimes, just sometimes, a seemingly harmless choice can destroy everything. The invisible line is always there. You don't see it, you don't feel it, until you cross it. And when you realize it's already too late. Thank you for watching. If these stories made you think twice about your own choices, then they serve their purpose. Stay safe. And remember, not everything that seems harmless really is.